So on this channel, I did a plot reveal for Godzilla vs. Kong at one point, and it was pretty accurate. Then I did another spoiler for Snake Eyes before the trailer even came out, and that was accurate and talked about scenes that were in the trailer before the trailer even came out. So the trailer verified that the spoilers were correct. Now we have a big one. I have gotten my hands on the plot leak of the full plot of The Matrix Resurrections, which is The Matrix 4. If you do not want to be spoiled, you need to click off the video now because this source has given me spoilers for those other two movies I mentioned, right? And those have been very accurate. So I believe without hesitation that this is the actual plot leak for The Matrix Resurrections that is coming out in December. And nobody else has this. I looked on the internet. It's not on Reddit. It's not on 4chan. It's not on YouTube. This is an exclusive right here on World of Geekdom. If you are new, subscribe. This is an exclusive right here. 6 months before the movie comes out. Ready? If you do not want to be spoiled, we're going to go into this film. Now, again, this may not be the final cut. They may add scenes, remove scenes. You know how it is. We have some details here and some stuff that I don't have details on, but this will be the general plot of the film with all the main characters and everything. And we're going to go through it. Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly. I wrote notes down of what I was told. I'm going to tell you all what I wrote down. And are you ready? No, last chance. Here we go. The Matrix Resurrections. First of all, I was told the movie is non-linear. It jumps around. The movie's about 95% done. There's still some more visual effects that have to get done on it. Soundtrack has been done according to what I was told, even though that may be changed. It could be temp tracks. We'll see. So The Matrix has been updated. They literally make jokes in the movie about how WB likes to do reboots. In the movie, there's tons of meta jokes about doing reboots. I think the movie should have been called The Matrix Rebooted because it feels like a soft reboot. And the movie's very self-aware of what it is, okay? We have some backstory to talk about and what's been going on. The movie does take place after The Matrix Revolutions. It's after that. Not a prequel or anything else. Here we go. So the movie opens with agents chasing down a character named Bugs. Now again, this movie mirrors the first Matrix. How that movie starts with Trinity. Bugs is played by Jessica Henwick. Morpheus is an agent now. But I'm going to get into what I mean by that. Now, this is not Lawrence Fishburne. Morpheus is played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, which is the same guy who played Black Manta in Aquaman. So he corners her on a roof, and she knows who he is, and she basically triggers his mind and unlocks his mind, remembering that he's Morpheus. So here's kind of what happens. Let's explain. This Morpheus is not the original Morpheus. This is a bootleg copy, a bootleg / copy of the original Morpheus that forgot who he was and became an agent. Neo is the one who updated the Matrix at some point and made him and created this copy. I'm going to get into how later on, right? So the original Morpheus played by Lawrence Fishburne is dead. He died of old age because the Matrix Resurrections takes place 60 years after the end of Revolutions, right? So the Morpheus from that era is dead. He's an old man. He died of old age in the real world. This is a copy that was imprinted into the Matrix, the new Matrix, by Neo. We're going to get to Neo here in a minute. So Christina Ricci plays Neo's boss. She does not have a lot of scenes in this movie. So if you're a Christina Ricci fan, not a lot of scenes. Neil Patrick Harris, one of my favorite actors, is Neo's therapist, who is a villain, revealed later in the film as being the Analyst. That is the main villain of this film. So basically what's going on is that Neo is alive in the Matrix. He's a video game developer in the Matrix. Now I'm going to explain in this video what happened to him, why he's there. So here's the backstory. 60 years after Matrix Revolutions happened, during that time there was a purge that happened in the Matrix. The Analyst appeared during that time, who's a rogue program who wants control of the Matrix, and he tries to take over by recruiting people to join him. So he is Neo's therapist, and early in the film, you don't really know he's a villain because the Analyst is manipulating Neo's mind. And because of all this that happened, this Matrix update that happened, this updated Matrix, some of the characters from the past remained. Some were copies created by Neo, so it's like a reboot. Again, it is a reboot of the Matrix, literally, like in the meta sense, in the movie. So here's what's going on. So Neo thinks that everything around him is not real. He thinks he's dead and somehow stuck in the afterlife. It's not stated like that, but it's implied. He has PTSD from the last 3 movies, so Neo is trying to live his life, but he's having flashbacks of the stuff that happened in the last 3 movies. The Oracle, Smith, all that stuff. There's even a cat in the movie called Deja Vu, and as this is going on, the analyst is telling Neo those are just dreams. None of this ever really happened, because Neo forgot who he was, but not entirely. It's like he doesn't know who he is, but he still has some memories of the past, of what happened in the previous 3 Matrix movies. So there's a scene in the movie where Neo recognizes a woman at a coffee shop who looks like Trinity. And it is played by Carrie Ann Moss. But this woman is not Trinity because she's married and has a kid. So Neo sees her and he's like, is that Trinity? Or is he losing his mind? And of course, the analyst is there, the therapist, to tell Neo, no, that's not her. It'll all make sense in a minute, okay? This all does make sense. So he's trying to basically prevent Neo from knowing who he really is, who he was, right? And Trinity's the key. So, Morpheus and the girl from the start, Bugs, try to find Neo. But Morpheus does not have a human body, but he wants to help out. Eventually, he realizes who he is and whatnot, and he joins Bugs. So this mirrors the first Matrix. And basically what happens is we find out that there is a new Agent Smith. Right? And this Agent Smith is played by the dude from Frozen, Jonathan Groff. So the analyst is the main villain, but Agent Smith's in this movie. And basically what happens is that the Agent Smith actually, when the Matrix was updated, right? Agent Smith was kind of like I said, like copied. So it's a copy of the original Agent Smith with a different like shell. Like he was basically, what was the word that was used? He was remapped is the word that was used, right? Remapped. So the Merovingian was not in the Matrix when it got rebooted. He left. Obviously, I guess he did it through the train station from Revolutions, but the train man's not in this movie at all. So New Smith brought the Merovingian back into the Matrix. There's no mention of the train man or Persephone. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, but Smith wanted Merovingian to help control Neo, but they never got the chance because Neo gets rescued. So Morpheus and the girl Bugs find Neo, and they tell him there is hope, that Trinity is alive, but Neo doesn't believe it because he saw Trinity die, and she died in Revolutions. But eventually Neo does go with them. So there's a fight at some point in the film early on with agents on a bullet train. This is probably when they fight Agent Johnson. Neo has not unlocked his full powers here because he did not believe. Remember, like in the Matrix 1, he has to believe in who he is and him being the one to tap into his powers, but he doesn't believe. So he's fighting, but he doesn't have the powers of the one entirely. He can do some things, but it's not the power of the one. So, as I said earlier, the analyst is trying to, disguised as a therapist, is trying to suppress him so he does not unlock his full power. The analyst wants control of the Matrix, and he wants to stop Neo from unlocking his power because he knows that the systemic anomaly could stop him. Analyst wants to control everything, including the machines. So they eventually go to Zion. What happens is they take Neo out of the Matrix with the red pill, just like before. It mirrors the first movie. They meet Niobe at Zion, who's now really, really old. It's been 60 years. So I guess they put makeup on Jada Pinkett because she's not that old, but they made her look a lot older. New Morpheus does not have a human body. He's a codex. That's the word that was used, a codex. So New Morpheus does not know everything about the old Morpheus, but there's hints of the old one in there. It's kind of like a reincarnation. He does not have a human body, and it's like a reincarnation within the Matrix. So we have themes here of resurrection and reincarnation we're talking about. So Niobe, here's where the backstory comes in. Niobe explains that the day that Neo and Trinity died in Matrix Revolutions, the machines from the Machine City took their bodies and repaired them. So they were resurrected by the machines. So Neo's body was fine, but Trinity got impaled. But the machines rescued her and put her back into the Matrix, with like a rebuilt body. And because of that, she's in her own pod. So Neo gets put back into a pod like in the first movie, so is Trinity. But he does not believe he's alive and does not believe he's the one. But he's still been living in the Matrix thinking it's not real. So Niobe's people end up saving Neo from the pod, right? Like I said, they go to Zion, they take him out, and that's when they explain everything. But during the movie, Neo's starting to realize that Trinity actually might be alive. And so when the machine saved them and they kind of repaired them, they kind of age differently. So even though it's been 60 years, Neo and Trinity have not aged that much because of the mechanical implants of the machines. Now, again, some of this is very contrived. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of this is lazy writing. I'm going to be dead honest with you. Some of this is good. Some of this is very lazy. And the movie does have... There's a scene later on in this movie that seems very woke. We'll get to it here. And you know the Wachowskis are trans, so, you know, it shouldn't surprise you. But I know there's going to be some criticisms of this by some people on YouTube. I don't know if it actually... I haven't seen the movie yet. Some people are probably going to say it is, so just be prepared that could be a debate we're going to have. I remember hearing, even before I talked to my guy today, that this is a very divisive movie for that reason. So, but we have good stuff coming up too. So, the analyst knows if Neo wakes up Trinity, he'll have his full power. Just like in the first Matrix. Remember, he's the one that brought him back from the dead. She's the one that told him he loved her. Neo taps into his full power when he's with Trinity. In Matrix Reloaded, he was dashing through the city trying to save her. Like, Trinity inspires Neo to tap into his full power of being the one. Love, like the architect says. So the analyst knows that if Neo reunites with Trinity, his plot is going to get screwed. So, about Smith. Smith still has agent powers, but was never truly deleted. He was just updated and remapped. And he still wants to be free. He does not have the virus powers from Matrix Reloaded and Revolution, so he can't just copy himself like what he used to do. He says they don't tell you exactly what happened to Smith in the last 60 years, what he was doing. This is what my friend told me. Lazy writing. Smith was reskinned by Neo at some point. This is how the 7th version, this is now the 7th version of the Matrix, the one that was rebooted. So the plot of the movie starts after they find out that Trinity and Neo were survived. And basically the plot is they have to go to the machine city, or to the machine, the crops, basically. Not the city, the crops, to wake Trinity up. Lots of plot convenience here, by the way. In the real world, they board a ship. But what happens is that they have to go back and forth between the Matrix and the real world. So they're basically trying to go back and forth. And Morpheus being AI, he can use his AI to interact with machines. So they bring this machine to wake people up, to wake Trinity up, and they eventually wake Trinity up in the real world. Now, at some point during the movie, it wasn't specified to me exactly when, but they run into Smith at a place that resembles an abandoned factory in the Matrix, and they jump back and forth between the Matrix and the real world. And this is where the Merovingian appears, because what happens is there's a scene where Bugs and Morpheus fight Smith's henchmen, who are apparently not agents. And then Neo and Smith happens, and Smith kicks Neo's ass. Neo is not the one at this point. He doesn't remember being the one. Smith, we don't see Smith again except for one appearance near the end. Doesn't do anything else. I don't like that. It seems like pointless fan service to me to put that in the movie. They could have had this whole movie without Smith even being in it. And to me, it does a disservice to Hugo Weaving's character and to what happened at the end of the Matrix Revolution. Honestly, I don't like that. My opinion, I do not like that. The Merovingian is on Smith's team because Smith brought him into the Matrix. And basically, he's like this old man that was like an old homeless guy who has this meta line about how the new shit is not matching the old. So, like, it's very meta how he's basically saying, like, this movie will not be as good as the original Matrix movies, you know. That's basically what he's saying in a meta way. Like, the new Matrix won't compare to the old Matrix. He's being that guy. We'll see if that's the case. So, the climax of the film is they wake Trinity up and they go to a scene. I guess at some point they jack back in. There's a scene where they go to a coffee shop with the analyst and a bunch of SWAT guys and agents everywhere. And Neo talks to the analyst. And the analyst says he wants to make a deal with Neo. The analyst says he wants control of the Matrix. He says that Trinity will walk through the door, and if she remembers who Neo is, that he'll leave because he can't stop him. But if she does not remember, he will fight for the Matrix and take down Neo, who does not have his full power. So it's explained at some point that Trinity feeds power to Neo and vice versa, like a Rey and Kylo thing. I don't think I like that. I like Trinity giving Neo power to make him stronger, like, to make him a stronger fighter, to inspire him to be stronger. But it gets really weird here. So she walks through the door, she remembers Neo, and then we have this big final battle because Neil Patrick Harris, the analyst, breaks his promise. And what happens is they show that there's like an evil AI, and they're all together. They work for the analyst, his minions, and the swarm of AI like infect people in the city and turn them into these like zombies. Like not zombies like the ones in like the Dawn of the Dead movies, but I mean like they're being mind controlled by the AI, and they attack Neo and Trinity. Here we have this big chase sequence where they chase down Neo and Trinity through the city. And this is the bike scene that was leaked. So throughout the movie, they tease that Neo tries to fly, but he can't do it. There's a flashback in the start of the movie where he tried to actually jump off a roof because of his memories and was talked out of it by the analyst. So this time they end up on the top of a building, and I'm not sure how they got there. He didn't specify how they got there or why they got there. There's some stuff that's missing from this that he told me. I'm going to ask him more questions soon, but I'm a little confused about this, see if he remembers. He saw the movie, my friend did, but he didn't remember everything, which you don't remember every detail. It's a long movie, apparently. So they hold hands and jump off the building, but this time Trinity is the one to fly. So Trinity now has the powers of the One. I don't like that. People are going to say it's woke. I don't know if there's an explanation, but he pretty much told me that there is none. Maybe he doesn't remember. Remember, he just saw the movie once. He doesn't have the entire movie mapped out in his head. And he said that it's visually amazing. There's a huge riot at the end, a huge fight. Basically, at the end of the movie, there's a big gunfight in the city, and then Neo and Trinity are fighting them off, and Neo's using his one powers. He can stop bullets and all this crazy stuff he did before. He said it was nuts. The last scene of the film, after all this has calmed down, Neo and Trinity confront the analyst at his house. Trinity starts cutting up his face with her new powers, like literally peeling his face with her new powers and then putting him back on as a warning. Like deleting him, basically. And at that point, both Neo and Trinity know how to fly, and they both together fly towards the screen. And that's how the movie ends. He said there was no credits in this version that he saw because it's unfinished. No post-credit scene, but it does leave it open for a sequel because now Neo and Trinity both have their memories back and they both have powers of the One. It's not explained how Trinity got Neo's powers. I don't know if he gave it to her, or if somehow there was if the machines gave it to her when they resurrected her, which would make sense. It's not explained from my guy. Maybe he forgot, but I know some people are going to say this is woke, that Trinity now has the powers. But again, I want to wait till the movie comes out because they may explain it. I mean, the movie, there might be scenes that weren't in this cut that get put in. This is just an early cut of the movie. It's not, there's still more to it than this. Possibly. My source said it's lazy writing, honestly. It came off like lazy writing how Trinity got the powers at the Chosen One because the anomaly is one person. But I guess by the end, both Neo and Trinity have these powers. So if they have these powers, like, who's going to stop them? What's going to happen with Smith? It feels like they're building up to a sequel, but it also feels like a soft reboot of the first movie with a lot of fan service. That's what this comes off like. And that's pretty much what every single franchise has done. Star Wars, even Dragon Ball. Everything that's been coming out lately that's from the old stuff, a lot of it's fan service. Like a lot of throwbacks to the old stuff. So, Neo and Trinity's relationship, Neo and Trinity flying towards the screen like the end of Matrix 1, but it's both of them doing it. Like, it's just very similar, But I was told the action scenes are amazing, and I'm a little bit disappointed that there's no actual fight between Neo and Smith at the end of the movie, but they do fight in the middle of the movie. So that's pretty much the plot of Matrix Resurrections. What do you think? Once again, this is what I was told. I did not see the movie myself. My source has been right before, so I have no reason not to trust him. And I'm sure there's probably more that he missed because this is not every detail, right? And we'll find out, I'm sure, as time goes by, all the stuff that he did miss and what happens and if there's any scenes that were cut. But that's pretty much the plot of the movie. There's some things I love, some things I do not love whatsoever. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.